Hello, you all. It is Jenny coming to you with round two of the HCG diet. I just finished my day of loading. So, this is the first morning of being on P2. So, technically, P1 are your two loading days, and then P2 is the actual diet portion of. So, P2 is what you are doing the majority of the time. All right, so the 2 days of loading, how did it go? I wanted to talk a little bit today about clean loading. Do as I say, not as I do. I did, I think, complete clean loading the last time, but I don't think I really talked a whole lot about it, so I thought I'd just do this video talking about clean loading versus other loading. Now, um, in the Simeon's protocol, he does not discriminate clean loading versus regular loading. So the concept that was introduced to me when I first heard about this diet is you eat absolutely anything you want, no matter how good or bad it is, and you eat as much of it as you possibly can. The more you eat, the better off you are. You're supposed to just gorge yourself with as many calories as possible. This is how it was originally introduced to me, and so loved it. Really found myself struggling, however, once I started going into P2. So, what I did the last time that I was on this, now it's been a couple years since I've done the diet. So, just as to backtrack, I did the diet about a month ago. Took 3 weeks off. And now I'm doing another round of P2. So I'm going to write down, I'll do a video on the time between 1 and 2. And I'll also do another one on why I'm doing this diet or how I heard about it. All right, sorry that I'm being distracted here. That's not fun to watch. I apologize. I get these thoughts though, and if I don't write it down, I won't remember them anymore. I'm no longer 22 years old, so the brain's. All right. All right, so clean loading essentially is that you are eating basically P2 foods with more fats in it. So you are loading, you are putting in a lot of calories. You're not monitoring the calories, you are just eating throughout the day, trying to maintain a decent amount of eating, but you are doing mostly vegetables and proteins. And the proteins can have fatty substances in them, whereas on P2, normally we stick with lean proteins. That doesn't need to happen, but that's considered clean eating, where you're just sticking with proteins and vegetables. So you're essentially eating pretty well. You're just eating a larger portion of it, and you're eating more fats than you normally would before going on to P2. Regular loading, as most people do it, is it's a free for all. Do whatever you want, eat whatever you want, and it's perfectly fine. I did a modification of both, I would say, this time. I didn't completely stay away from carbs, which you would do if you were doing clean loading. I did have some carbs, and I actually had some sweets this time around. And I normally don't, but I mentioned in the previous video, I did it because the one thing you don't want on this diet is to always feel like you're being deprived and like you can't, you can't, you can't, you can't. You want to like not really feel hungry and not really have a desire to eat and all that. I was eating pretty well, but just not losing any weight before I did the round a month ago. So I wasn't having any sweets. Now, sweets aren't my downfall anyway, but there are certain sweets that are difficult for me to resist. By and large, I'm a meat and potato kind of gal, and pizza and potatoes, those are my weaknesses. But so I wasn't having any sweets for a long time. I don't even know how long, a decent period of time. Not being regimented about it, just avoiding them. But eating other things. So carbs in other ways, such as potatoes, etc. Okay, then I did the diet. And I did clean loading on the diet, so I didn't have any sweets then either. So then I went 3 weeks doing the diet. And then afterwards on maintenance, tried to also make sure that I kept away from sweets. A couple bites here and there of things, but basically stayed off of sweets. So my philosophy, because I went into this diet not really expecting to do it right away, but just kind of looking at the calendar and going, "Oh, I should just jump into it and do it right now." Because of that, and I like to kind of psychologically prepare myself and get revved up and ready, and I didn't have the time to do that preparatory mental work before going into it. I thought, so that I don't really feel deprived this time, I'm going to allow myself sweets on P2 and have some of my favorites. So I did. Krispy Kreme donuts were part of my loading days. Good stuff. I had an ice cream bar. It was a healthy choice, but chocolate ice cream bar. I did have one of the candy bars that I'm giving out for Halloween for trick-or-treating. I didn't even enjoy it that much. I thought we had Twix bars, but we didn't. So I had a Kit Kat, which I used to love, but they're just okay. Not as good as a Twix. So yeah, over those course of those 2 days, that's a decent amount of sugar compared to what I'm normally used to taking. And then eating, pizza and hamburgers and potatoes. I love potatoes. What else did I have? I had nachos with melted cheese on it, like shredded cheese that I melted in the microwave. Yeah. So I ate a decent amount of calories on these two. So I should be ready to go. I did not wake up the second day feeling engorged as I normally do, though. That was a little concerning for me because I normally do. I usually feel like so bloated that like the idea of eating food is just not appealing whatsoever. So I don't know what's happening with that, but I'm going to monitor, maybe really start counting the actual drops. I kind of guesstimate when I put the drops in. I'm thinking maybe I'm not getting as many drops as I need to be. So I think I might do that to make sure I'm not hungry, but for as much food as I ate. Okay, here's the gross part. You can go ahead and turn it off if you want. You know that I have no qualms talking about bowel movements. And I've said many times, on a normal, if I'm not dieting, just living my normal life, ever since I was a kid, I have a bowel movement every 2 days. It's just the way I am. When I'm on P2 on the diet, near the end of it especially, I'll go over 2 weeks without having one because there's just not the volume of food in there. The food that I'm taking in, my body's burning and using for energy, and it's all healthy, good food. So the amount of waste is simply not there. Um, but I was really disappointed when I got on the scale the morning that I went to weigh in. Right before going to weigh in, I was in the bathroom as soon as I woke up and I had a bowel movement. I'm like, ah, shoot, couldn't I weigh in first? So that was higher. I had a bowel movement, I weighed in. Okay, fine. So then after the first day of loading, for next morning, exact same thing. Woke up in the morning, went to the bathroom before I got on the scale, had another bowel movement. And I'm not like some people. I don't understand the concept of people spending 20 to 30 minutes in a bathroom. For me, if I have to have a bowel movement, it's exactly like having to go pee. I go in, I sit down, I do it, and I'm out. I'm out in the same amount of time that I would urinate. So, again, I don't think that's normal, but that's just how it works for me. When it's time to go, I go. I just don't understand why, if people strain. I mean, it just doesn't seem like it should need to take that long. If you got to go, go. If not, don't go in the bathroom. So, anyway, not something I've ever understood. So that's why I didn't know. I like went. I didn't feel the need, and I went to sit down. I'm like, oh, I have to go. Boom, I went. That's just how it works. So, um, this morning was P2 or day 2 of loading, or I've loaded 2 days. This is my first morning of being actually on the diet. So it was my first weigh in that was going to be at its highest. And right before getting on the scale, same thing. Had to have a bowel movement. But here's the interesting thing. I taught a bunch of classes, and in between 2 of my classes this morning, a couple hours later, I had to run to the bathroom and have another bowel movement. So 2 in one day is not like me. That shows you that I did load a lot. I, I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how many. I've never sat down and counted it up. Maybe I will one of these days and tell you how many thousands of calories I put in over each day of the past 2 days. But I mean, a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts, McDonald's, I mean, you name it. Chocolate bars, potatoes, popcorn, guacamole with chips, other chips with melted stuff, a whole taco casserole that I had made for the family for the birthday party that was left over. Maybe warmed that up with extra guacamole and cheese on it and ate it with tortilla chips. I mean, lots of calories. You know, I didn't eat as meals, I just kind of ate all day. So if it were put into meals, it probably would be like 5 meals a day. Good size meals. Well, like I say, I have a stomach that can hold it. Just, unfortunately, which is why I like this diet because it makes me feel full. And that's not a feeling that I have very often. I just always eat because I want to eat, not because I'm hungry. Because food tastes good. That's why I eat. This is the brain problem I have with dieting and trying not to eat as much. One of these days, I'll do some research on food addiction and talk a little bit about that. So here we go. Here are the numbers. Day 1, after loading, I had gained 1 pound, and then this morning I gained 1.1. So a total of 2.1 pounds up after 2 days of loading, which I'm surprised about. I mean, that's almost exactly the same that I did last time, but I did some clean loading last time. But I must have just been eating a whole lot. I feel like I ate twice as much this time, and I didn't eat it as well. Now, the idea of clean loading is not to prevent yourself from gaining that weight. Typically, as I said before, the first 2 days of loading, I gain a couple pounds. Whatever I gain, whether it be 2 pounds or 5 pounds, in the first 2 days on the diet, I tend to lose that exact same amount. And so, on the first 2 days of P2, I should say. So, by day 3 of P2, I'm usually into the actual starting to lose weight beyond what was accumulated in the loading days. So I was really surprised they only gained 1.1. Again, had a bowel movement right before getting on the scale, but then had another one later on in the morning. So I'm excited that it's not going to be too terrible maybe tomorrow on the scale. I was afraid of a plateau on the first day. That'd have been horrible, wouldn't it? Oh my word. Usually I at least go a week before I have my first plateau. So here we go. Starting today, I'm on P2, and I hope you are too, and you do it along with me. I don't know that I was thinking maybe doing videos every other day this time around as opposed to every day as I did before, simply because I don't think I have that many topics. I mean, I guess I could just jump in and just tell you what my numbers are so that if you're going day by day, maybe I'll try to do that. I'll try to get on every day, even just tell you what I've lost or what I've gained and how I feel about it, and then get off and just do a quick 5 minute or less video. If I don't have a topic to talk about. Okay, I'll do that. All right, that's it. Up 2.1 pounds after the loading days. And here we go, round 2, P2. Let me know how your successes are. I want to hear about you as well. It encourages me. Take care. Bye.